Welcome to the Art of Money podcast with Art McPherson.
And thanks for checking out the Art of Money podcast. My name is Mark Owens alongside Art McPherson and Luke McCarty. All the information for the McPherson Financial Group, you can find it at theartofmoneyradio.com. A good marriage means a good partnership, and best-selling retirement author Patrick Kelly says that's something that husbands, we easily forget when it comes to financial planning.
I think it's really important that you include your wives in this whole planning process. And quite frankly, guys, speaking from my experience, when I listen to my wife, there's a lot of added wisdom that comes, a different perspective, oftentimes maybe having me think about things in a different way. We want to be in this together with you.
You know, it's something we talk about often here, Art McPherson and Luke McCarty, but tell me more about the importance of having both spouses involved in retirement planning.
Well, I would say when people come to our firm for the first time and they're, coming in to be a new client, I would say 90% of the time, or maybe even 95, it's both spouses. Now typically you may have someone has a work conflict or something like that, but by the time, at least the second time, both people have come in. And I think it's super helpful. It's very important because the wife or the spouse is going to give you a different perspective that the other person forgets, or they're just going to be another set of ears hearing our conversation. So they remember more of the details that you're not going to remember. So it's just really, really important to have both people there. And it makes a huge difference. And usually we can be an advocate. So Luke or myself many times will say the same thing a husband or a wife has been saying for 10 years. And we've even heard comments like this, but I've been saying that for 10 years and now you agree with them. And it's like, yep, but they heard it differently because, you have that husband and wife discount factor that it comes across as fussing or nagging, when we're talking to our spouses sometimes and we tone each other out. But when you're really talking to someone who does this for a living and this is our job and we look at all kinds of examples, Luke and I see hundreds of people a year with their financial planning. So we see the mistakes that people have made before they've come to us, and we see the successes and we've seen the failures. So we have a track record and we have personal stories, personal client stories, if they let us share them, very generic, obviously, but people can really learn from one another. So it's like kind of getting in a group on how not to make mistakes in a sense.
Yeah, it's very important for both to be involved. Sometimes it's Art and I convincing them to bring their spouse because after a while, usually in a relationship, somebody's in charge of something and somebody's better at something else per se. So it's really good to have both because at some point, something's going to happen to one of you, right? It's more often than not both of you at the same time. So the unfortunate, part of life is that, you may be on your own without your spouse. Well, what if your spouse did all the finances and now you don't know what's going on? So our goal here at McPherson Financial Group is to get everybody involved as much as we can, make it fun, make it not just, boring numbers where you don't want to come in and see us, for that other spouse who doesn't seem to care, and just have everybody on the same page for when something happens to one of you, the other one knows what to do, who to go to, know what the plan is and, how it's working, what changes, will need to be made and be able to have those discussions. But, we feel it's very important for both spouses to be involved.
772-281-5223. That's how you reach out to the team at the McPherson Financial Group. And Luke, what happens if I come in and I say, look, I know I need to be doing this with my wife. I know we both need to be here, but she refuses to get involved in this retirement planning and says, whatever you do, I'm okay with that. Do you ever have to make the phone call and strong arm them and say, no, we need both of you here?
I'm not Luke, but I'll answer that. We don't usually have people that adamant about it. Once in a while, that's why I said about 90% of the time. So that is an example of some of those people that come in by themselves. But usually after they meet us and after they get to kind of know the firm and how we do things, they usually want to bring their spouse in. So even if their spouse doesn't want to be there at every meeting, they come in and they'll be here at least occasionally. So that way they can have an idea of what we're doing.
For you, Mark, if you were asking that question personally, I'm curious. Only talking to Gretchen. I don't even want to talk to you. She's the brains of the family. So I will only have meetings with her.
Mark, why don't you just wait in the car, buddy? We'll text you when it's time to come in and sign
Mark,
the forms.
just play on your phone.
You'll be fine.
Mark, just play on your phone.
Have you seen a couple come in and they're on completely different paths and you got to work hard to put them together? How much work is that on your part?
Yes. So I have an example. So I have a couple that comes in all the time. They, we do their annual reviews, couple teachers. Husband is a good saver, but the wife is a super saver. So she will not let him retire. He wants to retire right now and they can afford it, but she will not let him retire because she's a super saver. She wants to see that money in that account. But I am his advocate. So I'm always letting her know that things are doing very well. Their portfolio is growing very, very nicely. And anytime she's willing to let him retire, they are ready. So my job is to always just kind of reassure her on they're way ahead of where they need to be. They're doing everything the right way, and you guys can retire and do what you want to do. So he's always like, thank you, Art. Thank you, Art.
Yeah, so there's that side of the coin, but there's also another example I have where, the husband doesn't want to retire, but he's getting older, and the wife says, you need to retire, right? We're fine. We have a portfolio that can generate X amount of income because our financial plan says it can. We've worked with Art and Luke for several years. Why don't you just retire? Well, at a certain age and certain part of your career, some of us want to stay at our jobs and want to keep working because we like it. And so I think he's in that situation, even though the wife is trying to, hey, you need to retire. And then I'm on her side too, like, hey, yeah, you can retire. What are you doing? So it's both sides, and we just see everything here, which makes our job very fun.
Thanks for listening. Want more from Art McPherson of McPherson Financial Group? Find us online at artofmoneyradio.com. We are an independent financial services firm helping individuals create retirement strategies using a variety of financial and insurance products to custom suit their needs and objectives. Securities offered through World Equity Group, Inc., member FINRA and SIPC, a registered investment advisor. Investment advisory services offered through ProStatus Group, LLC. McPherson Financial Group and ProStatus Group, LLC are separate entities and are not owned or controlled by World Equity Group, Inc. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Investment financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. Art McPherson is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult with your attorney, accountant, and or tax advisor for advice concerning your particular circumstances. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Arthur McPherson. Florida Insurance License number A174725.
Today's show has been a work of art.